I don't want to be that current because you got to be careful. I've told you, that's what I was leading up to saying, is that I wanted to come out here and talk about all this stuff, but there was a little bit of fear and trepidation in me to do so, only because I'm more afraid that some freaking wacko is going to hear our podcast and take what I'm saying the wrong way, and then
because we're obviously going knee-jerk off of what's been thrown in our faces.
and I don't want to do that. I want to have a genuine understanding of what's actually going on.
But that's the thing, is you can't.
I know, and it's hard because the only thing I've ever relied on for a lot of that is my gut. You know, whenever there's like any world,
so good at manipulating. I
know, and that's the thing of it.
You rely on that intuition anymore.
No, and that bothers me.
It does.
It bothers me because then I'm unsure of what.
Because now you have to do the research.
And then what's the research? You're just researching the information that's out there that you have no idea what the fuck is going on. And now, I mean, now you're reading the Bible, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Like, no, I completely agree with you. And it draws me back to a conversation that I had earlier this week. One of my coworkers was out here. I had to go to Puerto Rico to do some work on one of the cruise ships. And I'm an idiot and didn't bring my passport.
Oh, you took it?
I was like, I flew to Puerto Rico without a passport. Why would I need a passport to sail back to where I flew out of? It doesn't make any sense. And they were like, oh, it's because we go out into international waters. And I was like, the aircraft went out into international waters and I didn't need a passport. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But what I was saying is that you know, my boy came out and he crashed at my place for a few days. And we were out, we went out to go kayaking and everything. It was a wonderful day. And while we were driving there, we were talking about it. And we were saying that it's like, the whole thing with the left versus right kind of thing is that it's definitely baked in, right? There's a bill that goes in to get passed into law, and that bill is hundreds of pages long, and they've got like 12 hours to make a vote on it. Nobody's reading that shit in that amount of time. And then on top of that, we as normal lay people, it's available to us. We can read it. It gets released publicly.
Yeah, but who does that?
But then on top of that, not only is it hundreds of pages, it's also all written in legalese.
Yep.
And so to be able to sit down and decipher, you just don't have the time to do that.
Or the intelligence.
And to actually like fully digest what it says and then extrapolate how that is going to be manipulated and used in the future in other scenarios. Yeah. You know, you don't have the time to do that. And so, like, nobody has the energy unless you did that as a full-time job. And we've all got our own full-time jobs. Yep. So we don't have the time to sit down and do that. And so what it ends up being is, oh, this guy I usually agree with. And so, like, I'm just going to say, yeah, he read it and he understands what's going on. So I'm going to go with how he votes on it. But the reality of the matter is that he didn't fucking read it either.
Yeah, he had no idea.
And he made a deal with somebody else who voted on something that he wanted voted on. And like, it's this whole like bullshit thing. And so that puts people in these buckets where they're like, I don't know, this is what I do. I'm Republican, so everything that they do is what I do. I'm Democrat. Everything that they do is what I do. And then it becomes this very, very, very divisive thing. And that's why we have such a bipartisan like situation going on.
Yeah, but it just seems like we're caught in a lot of that two-party shit, no matter what, good and bad, black and white. I think there's a lot more Democrat, people. Republican.
I think there's a lot more people that are not as vocal.
True. Well, some people just don't know how to be. Because they get all that information and it's overwhelming to them. And again, like I said, the urgency and necessity kicks in where they have to live their lives. They don't have time to do any of that other stuff or worry about it. And somebody is now pulling the wool over their eyes behind their back because they've literally given up their right to any of that. Because they don't literally have the time and or care.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I don't have the fucking time to find the edge of this blanket.
The farmer in the field... it's like this king, that king. It doesn't matter, Like I'm still farming the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter to me. Like, okay, gas is a little bit more expensive. But then everyone blames the president for gas prices. And that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, blaming the president for the gas prices. Like, he sits there and sets the prices of gasoline. No, it doesn't happen.
There are things that they do that are directly impact it. But
sure. But
they're not the day-to-day things, dude. Like, exactly. I agree with you, but there are exceptions to what you're saying.
I know, and then people are like, "Oh, our quality of life is this and that." Oh, it's Biden's fault. Oh, it's Biden's fault. It's not Biden's fault.
It's fractional fucking lending is the problem.
It's your fucking fault. Yeah, it's the bank's fault.
It's the bank's fault. It's
always
a lot
been the
more.
problem.
It's a lot more, man. Like it is, and these things go back hundreds of years.
Oh my God, dude, thousands of years.
Yeah.
Dude, maritime law is commerce law, and that has been going on for a very long time, dude.
Yeah. Careful, because now we're getting in like sovereign.
I know. And see, again, you got to be careful because there's a lot of people that feel really strongly about certain things, and they are willing to do really violent things to other people over their beliefs.
Yeah, so I recently, not recently, like...
And that's not
actually,
cool.
Not even close to recently. It was like 5 years ago that I got a little pamphlet that was, oh my God, what was the name of it? I can't remember it. I can't remember the name of the pamphlet, but it was a sovereign citizen pamphlet. And like I read it, and it was an interpretation of like admiralty law, and the Constitution and things like that, and it was compelling. It was really fun read. I have it somewhere. I'll give it to you. It's a really fun read, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of fantasy. You know what I mean? Like it's something that I wish was truth, and so I want to believe it, and like that's one of the tactics when it comes to this manipulation for your gut, right? It is definitely one of those tactics. Like, I would love to believe that I could be just a living fucking being on this earth and be able to like just
survive and live,
fend for myself and like and provide for myself. But I have to ask permission to go fishing, right? Because obviously, like my impact on fishing and catching enough fish for me to survive and eat, to provide so I don't have to go and buy protein at the store, obviously that impact is going to be much greater and like and just gonna have such a detrimental,
you're being sarcastic,
result on the fisheries.
Yeah.
Compared to the commercial fishermen who are going out with these giant nets and like,
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, I'm going to make the fucking difference. And so I have to ask permission to provide my own food from the land that I live on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit is absolutely crazy. And like, it is, honestly. Like, there are a lot of these little aspects, like a lot of these little situations, scenarios that you'll pick out, like getting a fishing license, that don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
When you compare it to a bigger picture.
Yeah, it's true. And I heard this. I can't remember.
But at the end of the day, even though it's common sense that I should be able to go out into the land that I live on and
grow food and
cultivate what I need. That's common sense. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna get a ticket. Yeah. I'm still gonna get arrested. I'm still, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, if you don't have your proper licensing.
Consequences are still there, and that's the part.
There are some laws like that are important so that you don't overhunt at a season, because there's times and seasons for things, and so, but that used to be a courtesy and a knowledge that people knew not to do that, but now people don't have that wisdom.
People are connected to the land and understood the cycles
absolutely.
Of the land.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what country this is. I'm sorry. If anybody knows, please make a comment. They were talking about how they took a portion of the population and they gave each one of them free chickens, like 3 chickens.
Oh, yeah.
And in the course of a year, their landfills the amount of garbage that was filling up their land dropped drastically, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the exact quotes, but that this could be propaganda too. Who freaking knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it dropped drastically. But I could see it.
Just
you know
thinking
what I mean?
anecdotally.
And not to mention what it would do to big industry. You know, like if you imagine if like all of a sudden you gave everybody chickens, you would have the big farms for eggs. You wouldn't need it.
Yeah.
There would be no need for these big mega farms if everyone was growing their own food on a small little piece of land, and you had it wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah, so where it has to have already been done. Like this study has to have already been done, but a good place to like actually like check that out would be Hawaii or the Philippines. Because they've got chickens everywhere.
Oh yeah,
everywhere. You know what I mean? So like to look at that.
We used to have chickens everywhere.
What it costs, because think about it. Like a gallon of milk in Hawaii is like $10. Actually, I don't know. Like that was like over 5 years ago. So that was before COVID. So it's probably like $15-$20 now for a gallon of milk. You know what I mean? And so it's the same thing.
There's no fucking cows in Hawaii?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are some cows in Hawaii, but like the land is it's like Puerto Rico, where the land it's an island, but the land is like so varying in altitude that you can't really like have large.
Then if you want to live there, you shouldn't be drinking milk.
Well, sure. Yeah, but like
unless you want to pay for, you know what I mean?
It's like, but like that's what I'm saying is that so it would be the same thing, right? Where most of those commodities are shipped in and they become very expensive, right? So it would be really interesting to see how the price of chicken is and the price of eggs are.
Mm-hmm,
I would argue that it would probably be even higher than the price of milk.
What, for eggs or steak and stuff?
Eggs
in Hawaii would be higher?
Yes.
Because I thought you were saying that they have a bunch of chickens running around.
They do.
But no one's utilizing the chickens?
No, because it's probably illegal for them to resell them to the rest of the community. And so if you wanted to go to the store to buy these things, they would have to come from the mainland and be shipped out there, and they'd be incredibly expensive.
So much
and then the demand is low because there is chickens and eggs to be shared throughout the community. People who are like the Hawaiian people are wonderful at this. Like they are a really great example at taking care of.
So
the rest
most
of
like
community.
mainland people would be the ones that would be
Paying
that
those
be paying the
taxes.
taxes.
Yeah.
But whilst the people that are self-sufficient are having to pay the same taxes for the crap that they're not using.
Exactly.
And that's baloney.
Yeah.
That's like major misrepresentations.
It comes. I mean, and it's the same thing throughout. I mean, like every fucking country, right? Like it's like everybody tries to shame America for coming through and destroying and slaughtering of people and taking their land, but it's like every fucking country before us has done the same damn thing, dude. Every fucking country before us has done the same thing. So like, and I agree it's wrong, but at this point, it's like okay, well, like, don't do it anymore. We should make sure that it can't happen anymore.
Well, I guess it is kind of America, but whatever happened here in America was not set. It was set way before.
The precedent of it.
Yeah, the precedent of it. It was like it was just policy. That's what you did.
Yeah.
You went into a culture and you took it over and destroyed everything of that culture, and then took their land and whatever resources that you can. And then they would just get assimilated into whatever culture. Like that's what we were. I was talking this earlier. Spanish. There's so many different dialects of Spanish. Even like islands all around all over the place. They're speaking some form of Spanish, whether it's in Puerto Rico or New Mexico or Mexico. It's yes, there's your own dialect now. But it's still, the Spain was everywhere.
Yeah.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
Even the Portuguese did the same thing. Their language has been, bastardized and mixed with the language of other cultures, and it just changes.
Yeah. I mean, look at English.
But everyone's like, oh no, I speak, Puerto Rican, or I speak Dominican, or I speak, No.
Yeah.
You speak freaking Spanish, dude.
Well, it's like look at so like Puerto Rico was claimed and colonized by Spain in 1502, and then
we got some facts.
And then in 1508, Juan Ponce de Leon was the first governor of Puerto Rico. And then shortly after that, he was like, fuck this, I'm going to keep on going on my journey to find the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah.
And he sailed north further than he was believed that anybody had.
And he
discovered Florida. Yep. He got here, and then he was like talking to them, and he was like, wait a second. I'm talking to you. You already speak Spanish. And it was like, but there are no documented, like, there's no documentation for anybody from Spain or anybody from any like civilized country going to Florida before him.
Sure.
And so it's like, well, obviously, like, Juan Ponce de Leon did not discover Florida, but
no.
We don't know who did, so he gets the credit.
But it's all about.
But this is what I'm saying. It's that propagation.
He was commissioned to do this for the crown. You know, I mean, that's all the great explorers or whatever they were doing.
No, I don't think he was.
I think he had some affiliation. I don't think he was just like a maverick.
No.
Because you had money to make big traveling over oceans, dude. You had to have serious money.
When he got to the point where he came out and conquered Puerto Rico and became the governor of Puerto Rico, like at that point,
he was doing that for Spain.
He was doing that for Spain, and I think after that he was just like, hey, I got to go out and do my own thing. Like, this is the thing that I came here for. Now I'm going to go off on my own journey and accomplish my own thing. And then he went off and did that and came here and found that they already spoke Spanish.
Yeah, I mean, once you're going to search for the Fountain of Youth, it's like pretty much you might be in a little bit on the crazy side.
But it's the same thing. Well, no, everybody was crazy back then, but like it's the same thing. Like if I show up somewhere,
that was the conspiracy theory of that day.
It was absolutely. If I show up somewhere that I think that I've never another planet, right? I'm fucking like the fucking backyard astronaut. I build my own like spaceship and I go off
Flash Gordon
to another like galaxy, and then I get to a planet and like I'm like talking to them and I'm like, wait a second, how do you already know English? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, I still discovered this place.
Oh yeah.
Like if nobody can prove that they were here before me,
it's all about documentation. You know what I mean? It's all about documentation.
Yeah, I'll take the credit.
Look at Christopher Columbus.
He gets all the credit. Vespucci.
Amerigo Vespucci. Yeah, Columbus got all the credit forever and ever, and now we still celebrate Columbus Day. But you know, there is a little bit in the day and age that we live in where I will say that some truth does get out there. Yeah. Like there's a little bit more recognition for some of the things that we already know all too well. You know, like we know that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. Yeah. We knew, you know, like all this stuff. And then some of the people that did some of these things, they're finally getting the credit. History is telling the story, you know what I mean? The real story now, which is good. It's been a long time, you know what I mean? It take like, it took the Catholic Church something like 400 years to say that, Galileo was innocent, you know, like of whatever crimes they did 400 years later.
Yeah.
Okay, you might have had something there with the gravity, you know what I mean? Like, we'll give that to you.
It's the same.
You're free to go.
I mean, what was the other one? Turing. Alan Turing.
Who's that?
Alan Turing?
Yeah. Refresh my memory.
So he's the guy who decoded the German Enigma machine. That encrypted
okay. All right.
That guy. This dude saved millions of lives by coming up with a machine that could decode that thing the day of. Morning announcement went out. They had it. They had that.
Isn't Benedict Cumberbatch in that movie? Is that one? Did he play in that movie? Was that him?
Yeah. There was a movie about him. It was Benedict Cumberbatch. The what was it called?
Imitation Game.
Yeah.
Imitation Game. Yeah. So, but I mean, he saved millions and millions of lives, and they were like, "Well, you're gay." Chemical castration. Like they're just like, we don't give a shit what you've already done for this country. And multiple other countries and the world at large, fuck you, you're gay. Like no, that's not.
What?
That's no good.
You're a brilliant code.
That's no good.
You're brilliant in code, but
Yeah.
you're gay.
Nope.
Burn him. He's a witch.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like, and it took it took decades for Britain to like come to the conclusion. They were like, posthumously, they were like, my bad. Here's your award. You know.
Yeah. So, but it is nice that that's happening.
She said stop, and there's a red light in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the ladybug 12 at the ladybug picnic. Yeah, I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the ladybug 12 at the ladybug picnic. Yeah, you got it. I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At the ladybug 12 at the ladybug picnic. Yeah. And you got a loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. A loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter, baby. I said a loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Said a loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. And you go back. Run, run, run. Better run, run. Go to the store. For my mommy said run, run, run. Better run, run. Go to the store. For my mommy, she said stop when there's a red light in front of me. In both ways. She said stop when there's a red light in front of me. Look both ways. She said run, 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 run. Said a loaf of bread, container of milk, and a stick of butter, man. I said a loaf of bread, container of milk, and a stick of butter. I said a loaf of bread, container of milk, and a stick of butter, baby. I said run, 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 and run, 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 run to the ladybug picnic. I said run, run, run. Container of milk and a stick of butter, babe. I said loaf of bread, container of milk and a stick of butter. I said loaf of bread, container of milk and a stick of butter, babe. Ladybug picnic.